Good Sunday. Good Sunday. Welcome everybody to the show. Hoping everybody is having a wonderful Sunday. I know I am. I usually do. I don't tend to worry about what the masses think. I'm enjoying a wonderful Sunday, but I wanted to come on today and talk about what we've been seeing here in the promo realm lately. And what gets me laughing the most is how some folks think that, well, I'm going to go, I'm going to go defend my friend. Hey, I never knock anybody for wanting to defend their friend. You guys know what I'm doing. I'm sharing the link. You know how it goes. Um, okay, now we're done with that. It's okay to go defend your friend and your brother or whatever you want to do. A lot of people thought I got all bothered and worried about a guy coming out a couple weeks ago calling me a dickhead. His opinion don't matter, never has. He's a nobody in life and in the promo realm. And then another guy comes out and writes this big post in a place I'm not in, saying that he's going to roast me, bro. You need to go to the dentist, get a set of dentures, then you could try to roast somebody. But anyway, what I'm talking about today is okay. So if you're coming out a different color, you should really, really have a good reason to. Because here's the problem: you come out and you defend somebody because you think they're being done wrong. Then you find out, because everybody does, the one defending you or whatever, they have ulterior motives. They're just trying to get a rise out of people. But we all enjoy it. So I don't tend to fall into that victimatic, problematic bullshit. You know what I mean? When I watch promos, and this realm it's been going on. I've been in it for 9 years, at least the part I know about. I know I've heard Shady Sean McKenzie mention that there was like you could write in promos back in the day. There was different aspects of what promo is today. Okay, but today the promo realm is much different than it was. Okay, so let's talk about promos today. What's different from 9 years ago to right now? What just happened not too long ago? Okay. People want to come out here and say, well, they don't like me because it's my opinion, but everybody has a right to have an opinion. But then that same piece of shit, Jeremiah Kalp, and I named you personally, dickhead, wants to go and try to get pissed off when somebody has an opinion. Boy, man, what a hypocrite. What an idiot. What a fucking moron. And I say that because the whole world agrees he's a fucking idiot. The whole world agrees he's a moron. Listen to him cheering. They all know that this guy is the biggest fraud in the game. You know, I have a good friend right now that is in the hospital, and he's part of this promo game. I send a lot of love to my brother, Big Sweet. Me and him sat down one day and we talked for like, I don't know, 2 hours. And we found it funny, hypocritical, even listen, it was even so comical that we both had to stop because we were laughing so hard when this guy claims that, well, his group is one of the greatest groups out there. Everybody wants to join it. And then you go see the people that join it. Bro, come on now. Listen, I'll say this. I've been watching a lot of things happening. Uh, the VOH is really starting to spur and come alive again. PPF has always been alive for 5 years now. Ooh, yeah. We're one of the originals that's left. You had BTB, VOH, and then PPF. We've outlasted the original Revolution, the original WGP. We've outlasted Arts of Wrestling. We've even outlasted BTB. And I love BTB. You guys know that. I was their final world heavyweight champion. But here's the reason why we've lasted. Because I am personally one of those guys that I don't allow that kind of rhetoric. If somebody has an opinion, share your opinion, please do. But also be ready to understand and stand by it when you're criticized for your opinion. See, that's where the old duck has a problem because, you know, the Vince McMahon narcissist believes that he's always right. Sorry, man. Nobody believes you're right. Nobody thinks your stuff is good. But as I was saying, I've been watching the promo realm. TDC, a guy named Tommy Colburn. I think that's how you say his last name, Colburn. Um, him and a guy, I don't want to say your name wrong, Justin Acombre. He plays Vane, I think. I think they're running PDA along with Wapo, maybe. I'm not sure. Wapo, I get along with really good. We talk all the time. TDC and I ain't buddies. We're not pals. We're not going to sit down and have a Thanksgiving dinner together. But I respect the product he's putting back out there. And he said something interesting the other day that I want to cover. He was having major issues with StreamYard. Wow. If that's not been a fucking story forever. You remember when StreamYard first came out, Facebook didn't give a shit. They let us have it. There'd be 6, 7 people in StreamYard. We'd have a good time, bullshit. And then all of a sudden, Facebook decided, oh, fuck you. We don't want you guys to enjoy that. So TDC does what I would do, and I fully agree with it. He takes it back old school, no pun intended, and they drop the promos now on page. Smart move, intelligent move. That brand will thrive. I mean, other than one of your champions who everybody knows is mildly fucking retarded and should probably be put to sleep, but we won't talk about that. I don't want to discredit your product for a retard of a champion you have. But you know, I thoroughly support it. You know, I watch it, you know, and every once in a while I'm sure TDCOC, I click it and, you know, I put a like or a heart on something. That's called showing support to other brands, even if you're not buddies with the owner. Okay. Now, VOH, I support them fully, share everything they're going to do. PPF, we're going to support the Great American Promo Bash next month. It's going to be a pretty good card. But me and Justin, who is my producer, everybody, you know him as The Purge, the guy really, really does great work. PPF don't exist without him. Our shows would not run without him. A lot of the graphics he's done would not exist without him. We still actively use StreamYard. Now, the reason I think we use StreamYard is because we want to have like commentators and, you know, stuff like that. And I know TDC and them was doing that, but I kind of agree with TDC. If he's paying $50 for a product that he really can't use and really cannot, like, I don't know, maximize his gratification for, I wouldn't pay $50 either. I would just I would go back to page. Don't get me wrong. I love that, you know, 90% of the time, group owners don't realize that they're just going back to basics. Okay. When we post promos to page, that's how we did it back in the day. We used to post them in the comments. They would say, okay, old school versus King Dot. And then we would post our promos in the comments underneath. And that's how they would, you know, get seen. Then YouTube came along. A lot of people love the YouTube. A lot of people love that their shows are on YouTube. It makes a lot of the promo artists feel special. Their product is seen on YouTube. And I don't disagree with that. But we have also had some technical difficulties during, you know, these lives. Okay. Some were uncontrollable. You know, sometimes it could be a mass of, if there's a thunderstorm here right now and it was banging and clanging and the power goes out, yeah, you're going to lose me. You know, it happens. But that's what happens when you're not live. You know, when you're live, you always have a chance of the live going down. I'm live right now. I could get a thunderstorm, boom, it would end my YouTube live. But I think going back to basics is the best way to fix it for a lot of people. We're going to continue using StreamYard in Premier Promo Federation. We're going to continue to do our shows the way they are until we can't. Until StreamYard becomes such a problem that we go back to basics ourselves and put our promos on page. And, you know, we still do that here and there. If we have a Saturday night's promo event, we put that to page. I'm not going to have Justin fire up the StreamYard and do a StreamYard for 1 or 2 matches because they're similarly small cards. But now, as I was saying a minute ago, people come out and want to defend and bash and all that stuff. So guess what? Who's going to bash what I just said? I'm giving TDC his flowers. I said his group is doing really well. I said that I thought it was an innovative idea to go back to basics. Uh-oh. Gonna call me a dickhead again? Oh God, it breaks my heart. But thanks. 96 clicks on the last fucking video. Appreciate you, dumbass. But we still have a different style of promo today than 9 years ago. And that's why I kind of went into the PDA thing. That's how we did their promos back then. And then we would do like the mega show. The biggest show of the year would see YouTube, okay? And you would get a lot of views. I think Promoversary and BTB, last I checked, was almost at 1,000 views. That's pretty big. That's pretty big for a promo group. 1,000 views for one show. We were very proud of that event. If you've never checked it out, Beyond the Belts is the page. Go check it out. A lot of great old school stuff on there. You'll see Brett Jacobs win his first world title there. You'll see a lot of guys. The Rising Sun won his first title in BTB. I won 3 different championships in BTB, 2 brass knuckles titles, and a BTB world title. But it was ran by a great guy named Jose Bizzardi. He was an innovator. He streamlined the first championship belt on screen for a champion. He streamlined, the first actual verbal battles on screen. And then from BTB came the Voice of Honor. Chris Nichols was a part of BTB, did not like the direction it was going, did not like what he was being told, and felt like he could do a product that could just be a little better. And I will never ever say that Voice of Honor and BTB weren't running head to head spearheading. There were so many cool shots back and forth. You watch Jose go live one night, and then Chris Nichols would go live one night, and it was the common rhetoric. It was Eric Bischoff, Vince McMahon, okay, and that made the promo realm fun. They also had, before it was ever thought of, ready for this, no compete clauses. If you won one of those right there in BTB, you could not perform in VOH. And if you were in VOH and you won one of those, you couldn't perform in BTB. That was way before its time. And then somebody come up with the great idea, I'm exclusive. Let me give you my opinion on exclusivity. Exclusivity is laziness. You're afraid to go out and promo elsewhere. You're afraid to go different places. And before people say, well, you're only promoting Voice of Honor, old school, I've done it all. I've been everywhere. I've traveled the promo realm, won championships everywhere I've been. So why do I need to do it now? I don't have to dignify anybody. I've earned my flowers. I've earned my stripes. I've earned my right to call myself a legend. And that's not going to stop because some moron thinks that he's the Vince McMahon of the promo realm. And in all honesty, look who he has coming out to defend him. I don't mention the guy's name because he's not worth my time. I don't mention the guy's name because, well, let's be honest. Who's he in the promo realm? What has he fucking done? Nothing. Not a fucking thing. So I deal with the people that are relevant. You know what I mean? I'm getting ready to have a great matchup for that championship right there. Me and Dante Black over in the Voice of Honor. Forbidden Highway. Whew. It's going to be a great main event. You guys need to tune in, check out Voice of Honor, the Wrestling Boiler Room. Really great page. Tell them Old School sent you to go over there and have some fun and watch. The great guy running it, Brandon Seeger, good friend of mine. We've got some really great promo artists over there. Malice, Big Sweet, myself, Dante Black. Let's see. We can mention Handsome Rex, Tommy Gunslinger Ford, The Purge, Mama Purge. We even mentioned the NDTs or Gypsy King, whatever one he goes by. There for a while, you had Edward Lindsay, who plays a couple different characters. The Boss, I think he was a king of some kind. I'm just fucking with you. But I could go on and mention names. But the originator of the group, he plays a great character too. If you don't know Drag Neo, you've been living under a rock for too long. But these guys all put on a great show. Okay, they work hard, they show up, they show off, they show out. And they're just some of the main names that I will say right now are the most relevant promo superstars in the business today. Because of their work ethic, because they cause no drama, they don't start bullshit. Groups, and listen, there's promo artists that do that because they think it's getting them somewhere. That there's promo artists that do that and then want to backstep when they're caught doing that. Oh man, I wasn't doing that in real life. That was all character. We know what real life and character is. We're not stupid. You know, and the other thing that really makes me laugh too is in these groups. Okay, you got these guys that are, and I give them credit because they're going group to group, to group, to group, and working different groups for different championships or different divisions, and there's some differences in timing. You might have a 3 minute match or a 5 minute match or an 8 minute match. Depends on the group. Okay, and then some people will say, there's groups out there that run, live tag team matches. I've been there, done that. I'll say this: when I first did it, I was like, oh man, this is. I don't know if I like it, but then it was just so easy to do. I mean, it was like child's play. So you sat back and you were like, okay, I'm gonna go do a live match. Yay. I enjoy the theatrical part more because I feel like you put more hard work in. You earn your championship or you earn your win by your work, your wordplay, your scenery, all that stuff. I just feel lives are lazy. Now, don't get me wrong, a live hype, hey, I like them. Because the guy gets on there, runs his mouth, sometimes invites the opponent in, they run their mouth each other. That's fine. But a live match, that is the stupidest idea. It doesn't make sense because you don't control the narrative as a group owner. So if somebody says the wrong slur or word, you've got to eat it, and that could cost your group dearly. So for me, if you are a advocate of the oh my god, lives are the greatest thing ever, well, you're part of the problem in the promo realm today because you're not looking at the bigger picture, the product, how to build the story, how to tell the story, how to show the story. When you're just standing in one place at one time all the time, that don't sell. That don't make you a champion or a future player in this game. I'm sorry. And a lot of the group owners are seeing it, and I can say that right now because I talked to quite a few of them, and we have a couple meetings here and there, and it's funny because they're like, "Man, do you notice that people were like begging for lives?" I'm like, "Hey, y'all can do it. I'm not going to do it." And they're like, "No, we don't want to do it because we don't control the narrative." And I watch lives all the time, and here's why I say they don't make sense. You start out, okay, so I'm going to use Purge because Justin's here. I'm going live to talk about the Purge, me in the match for the Purge. But then I lose sight of that in the first 3 fucking minutes. And then I'm rambling on about other dumb shit that don't make sense or is not pertinent to the situation. And then you talk about the group, and then you talk about somebody who's in the comments, and then it's just so erratic that it's not a good thing. It's not something people go, man, I gotta go watch that fucking live. That was just fucking great. They go, Jesus Christ, they were on there for 20 minutes rambling. What the fuck were they talking about? Are they lost? Do they need directions? But yet I could go watch a promo by the Purge, watch him walk on screen, say what he's got to say, lead the way, have a little bit of music behind it, telling a kind of a story, maybe even a little bit of green screening going on behind there. Holy shit, what a promo. That's promo 101, jackasses. Sorry, don't like it. That's why you don't win championships, at least in established real competitive groups is what I'll say. You can win championships that way in groups that are not actively competitive or actively not kayfabe, which, hey, kayfabe's fine too. I've said it a million times. I sit back and I let people do their style, their place, their judging, if there is judging. Just everything they do is their choice. Okay. For me, I sit here and I love the competition part of it. I love watching, somebody maybe who used to not be considered a great promo artist finally find their own, finally find that skill that hones them in to earn a championship or become a champion or even become one of the beasts that constantly wins. You know what I mean? The and a lot of people get mad at me because I hate the underdog story. I think the underdog story is the most overbeaten dog in the game. That poor dog has been beaten so much it needs to be put to sleep. Listen, if you're an underdog, accept the fact you're an underdog for a reason. That means you're not on the caliber of the guy you're facing. You're not ready to beat that guy, probably, and you're probably not going to win. Unless you're in a group that goes, every underdog is going to win a title. And there's groups out there. We'll just leave it at that. Well, mainly one group. But in most promo realm, the underdog may pull the win off. He may be successful, but 98.9% of the time, my guy don't win. Okay, the underdog does not come out on top and do the, oh my God, I finished my story. Listen, you're all not Cody Rhodes. Okay, you don't have a story. You didn't start 9 years ago to lead to this story. Some of you have only been in the game for 1 or 2 years. So what story do you have? Well, you've got to build a story. See, I tell my story of 9 years. When I saw the King of Promos championship, I said one day I would be that King of Promos champion. And it took me 9 years to get that belt in my hands. And I think I've been dominating with it, doing a great job for the Voice of Honor. But, there's some groups that open up tomorrow. And a guy who just started wins the title and goes, I have finished my story. Bro, you were here for 6 months. What fucking story could you have? You didn't build your product. You didn't build your character. I'll use a guy that when I first saw him, I was a little off, but now I really like his stuff, and that's Johnny Blade. And he's a subscriber here, and I'm not saying it to fluff his pillow because I don't fluff pillows. But I watched when he first started. I was like, man, I don't know if he quite gets it. You know what I mean? It's a little different than professional wrestling because he came from wrestling. But now I watch some of his stuff when I used to be able to allow to, but I'm blocked. God forbid I see that stuff. Pussy. It's like, why, but it's whatever. But Johnny's grown. He's doing a great job getting his character circumvented, created, and out there. Same way with Purge. I watched when Purge first came out, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't know, because I didn't know how to relate to Justin in the Purge yet, because we hadn't really spoken. And now I watch him, and I watch his stuff has gone from, okay, entry level to really, really good stuff. He puts on a lot of hard work. He puts a lot of dedication into his product. We all do sometimes just light a cigarette, sit on the porch with a cup of coffee and just say, fuck this. I'm not giving you much more effort than that. But that's part of the character. That's part of the game. But me, I like people who invest and build their character. And in a couple of years, when I see them again, I'm like, fucking Christ, they've gotten good. Now, there's a few that I will say this, and this is, I don't know how this is possible, but it is. They were in the game. They were okay. Then they left the game. Then they come back, and they're not as good as they were when they were here before. And they've cycled downhill instead of paralleling to go back up. And me, I was just always a guy that I don't know how do you not continue to be able to promo after a break? Okay, I don't think you lose anything if you can talk shit before you leave. What happened? You get amnesia, lose your balls? I don't know, but I've never had that problem. I can constantly come on here and talk shit and have fun. I talk shit in my promos and have fun. For me, it's kind of old knowledge to say, oh, well, I used to be good, but I just got to build myself back up again. I don't know. I just, I don't know how you go from that and then come back and you're just not as good as you were. And I'm not saying he was great. I'm saying he was okay. So, these guys that also want the big pop when they return, they're the ones that get me laughing really hard. Okay, so let me see who could we use as an example. I'm going to use King Dot, Merle McLennan, because he's one of my favorites. Okay. I had a great time promoting against him in BTB, and he's one of the greats out there. He don't promo anymore. He's retired. He's relaxing. He's enjoying life. But if he would come back, that would deserve a pop. That guy would deserve a pop. Now, some people wouldn't think that. My personal opinion is he would deserve a pop. But there's some guys that have left so much and came back so much and left so much, came back so much, retired more times than they've promoted. There's no pop there. And I'm talking, you could fill up a balloon with air and stab it with a knife, and there's still not going to be a pop. Okay. And that's what's funny to me. These guys walk in, well, I'm a legend. I'm one of the best to ever do it. And everybody's like, What? Huh? This guy? And then they swear to God that they could have beaten somebody years ago, and then they come back and they lose to that guy, and it's a setup. It was already predetermined and all that. I love the excuses. Keep them going. We all wait for the 105th reason of why you couldn't win. Uh, Sorry, it's just truth. But me, I'm one of those guys that I stand here today. Well, I sit here today because I'm enjoying a cup of coffee, and I say that your character investment is what gets you to where you're at. Your character investment is what gets you to be somebody that an owner wants to call and say, "Hey, man, you should come promo my group." And I get, phew, dude, I ain't gonna tell you how many of those I get a day. I get plenty of those a day. I get messages from a lot of people wanting me to come promo in their groups, offer me championship belts. And for the ones who say, "Well, we don't get paid to do that, man, you guys must not be good." I was paid $250 to promo one time, and that was for a minute and a half spot. So I don't know about you guys, but I've made money in the promo realm. It might not be millions of dollars, but I've made it. Um, it actually forged one of these belts, and I can't remember which one I had made when I got that money. I don't remember. It's been a while. It might have been that elite PPF championship over there, but I did. I used that money to have a belt made. Um, it's not about money though. It's about loving the craft, loving the art, loving, seeing the new characters, loving to see people who genuinely enjoy, invest, and believe in their character. All right. Now, for some guys, it's all about those hanging on the wall back there. It's all about championship belts. They've got to be a champion to want to promo somewhere. If they don't win the title, then they're not going to promo. They're not going to show up. They're going to leave the group. They're going to go where they're getting handed a title, and that's where they're going to stay. And for those guys, hey, that's your freedom of choice. Enjoy that. But don't come back thinking people are going to go, "Oh my God, we're so glad to have you back." They're going to be like, "Well, we know if this guy don't win, he's dipping as soon as he loses. He's going to walk out of the group. He's going to just say, 'Fuck it, I'm out of here. I don't want to promo here because I didn't win a title.'" That's sad because sometimes it takes a while to get your character over in a new group. Sometimes it takes uh, an abundance of time, dedication, and hard work to get your character over. When I first started doing this, I didn't ever want to promo at all. I didn't want to be in this on the screen. I just wanted to watch. But a good friend of mine talked me into it, created my character, and here we are, long beard, long hair, still smoking, drinking coffee, and still winning championships. Uh, so for those people who have ever said old school ain't shit, bitch, you ain't gonna beat me. I can promise you that. I can promise you, you're not gonna beat me, because that's how confident I am that I can beat guys that are, well, they're down there. They definitely ain't up here. Um, but for me, it's not about the wins or the losses. It's about telling a story. If I would lose my KOP to Dante Black, I would thoroughly be excited because it's a roundabout. And what I mean by roundabout is we had a match. I took the title from him. He went and did some other things. Now he's back, and here we are one more time. We're going to go at it again. That's a story being told. It just happened in PPF. The Rising Sun dropped the title to Malice last year. Malice defended that championship for a whole year. Did a great job. Great unified champion. But a year later, the Rising Sun comes back and says, "You know what? It's me and you again, big boy." And, Rising Sun regains the championship. But a proud champion, Malice should be one of the greatest promo artists in this industry today. And if anybody ever doubts Malice is good, we definitely know your taste in promos. Just saying. But for the most part, when you put great promo artists on screen together, man, they tell a fucking awesome story. They tell a story that you want to be invested in. You want to sit here and you want to go, "Wow, I want to watch that guy go against this guy," or I want to see if that guy can beat that guy. And that's what to me sells a great promo battle. I don't listen. I don't like the ones that are okay. So let's we'll use Edward Lindsay. I mentioned him. Arthur King versus Dante Black. Let's just say that's the match. I booked that right now. They had that match Friday, and then you don't see it anymore. They're done dealing, talking to each other and dealing with. That wasn't a story. That was just a quick one-off, and it, you don't invest too much time into it. I love the guys who invest time into it. Hell, I'm going against Dante and VOH for my title, and I'm still throwing shots at the last guy who tried to win it because I can. It's a great story. It keeps people wondering if we're going to have another one, if we're going to go at it again, and that's how you keep people invested in your product. You know what I mean? Um, you want to book people that are going to work and mesh well together. Sometimes the matchup don't make sense. You get what I'm saying? Like you book certain guy against a certain guy, and you're like, I'm watching this, and yeah, their styles are so fucking similar. It's almost like the same guy talking. It don't push. You get what I'm saying? So when you book, I've always booked to the fact of what's going to draw interest. What are people going to say? Just booked a great match for Great American Promo Bash. I put Double A Aladonis and his junior heavyweight title against the former unified champion Malice. Holy shit. What a tale they can tell. What a match they could have. What a draw they are going to be. That's how you book. That's how you get, a sheer story. And they're both HHE. That's the even better story. You know what I mean? Because everybody seems to think HHE is a bunch of assholes and all this stuff. We are, but we've earned the right to be assholes. You get what I'm saying? Um, we tend to forget that this is people playing characters and people doing, I don't know, different styles of what they would be in a real life. Okay, so I'm almost certain that Dante Black ain't walking up and down dirt roads all day long kicking fucking rocks at people. You know what I mean? I know he works a job and he's busy, and I'm pretty sure it's not constantly kicking rocks and going up and down a fucking road. You know what I mean? But some people in the game cannot let their character go. When I shut the camera off and I'm not on, I mean, a lot of people still call me School. That every day of my life I've been called School because they've known me 9 years and I'm old school to them. But for 90% of the time, you turn off this fucking camera, you turn off the phones, you turn off the computer. Everyday life, man, real everyday life. And there's a lot of people involved in my real everyday life from the promo realm, and there's a lot that aren't. I don't let people into my life because it's none of their business. Some people do. I mean, I watch a lot of guys like A-List Alverson. He has a lot of really cool reels and shit. Like he talks about professional wrestling, food. I think there for a while, him and Tomsterdamus were doing like a food channel where they're taste testing food. Uh, there was all kinds of stuff happening with A-List. He's not just a promo guy. Okay, I pick on A-List as old school, but got to respect what the guy's doing. So that's what I mean by not letting people in your personal life. He invites them in. Okay. So you get to see a lot of aspects of his life. I do this podcast, I do my promo thing. That's it. And now, if you're lucky enough, you get in a group chat with me. I sit in there with, sometimes up to 10 people in a group chat bullshitting in our locker room. Or we have different chats for different things. Um, but locker room is a very popular one. Everybody gets together on. If your group's not doing that, if you're not having active calls, then you're not really bonding with anybody. You're not really having fun. You're not really uh, grasping anything from this. You know what I mean? You're losing the aspect of what this game should be. I've made a lot of great friends and brothers in this game. I said it before. One of my probably my best friend in the promo game. My brother. I talk to him every single day. Uh, but I haven't got to speak to him lately. My prayers go out to Big Sweet and his family. I'll be hollering at him hopefully soon. Um, he is the current VOH Excalibur champion. I don't know if you could still say he's the Penn World Champion. I guess he is, but he ain't. I don't know how that's working. That's Timmy and his between him and Timmy in Penn. But for me, this game has gotten so much better, in 9 years. But it's also had its downfalls. I think it was betterly controlled back in the day. We kept people out that didn't belong here and, you know, didn't really, fit what we do. They don't, they're not a promo artist. They're here to just start shit. You get what I'm saying? And I got a lot of love from family too, overseas motherfuckers. I got me German family, I got Canadian family. Believe it or not, conceded the guy I beat for the Canadian or the BTB World Title. That Canadian fucker's always talking to me. I love him to death. Uh, Check out Kleins and Cop if you want to on Facebook and YouTube. Um, but they do like this comedy skit. But that's the guy who I beat for the BTB World Title, and he talks to me all the time, tells me how good everything's going, how good it looks. Still in the group, still watches. Um, and if you see the folks here watching right now, we've got a few folks that I talk to on a daily. You got the Purge, you got James Ellis, you got Mama Purge, who I love. Mama Purge. Hope you saw the fireworks in the group chat I sent for you. I told you I would. They were fun. But when I had my neck surgery, I got a care package for Mama and Justin, and it meant the world to me. A bunch of goodies, helped me get a little fatter, but that's okay. I like to be, a chubby boy. Um, but I've also sent, Purge and Mama some championship belts because a lot of groups don't want to send overseas. It's expensive to some point. You know what I mean? And you can't knock a lot of people for that, but when somebody from Germany or Canada or wherever, okay, comes in here to promo. If you're letting them promo, man, you got to accept the fact that as an owner, you may have to send them a championship belt because they might win. You know what I mean? They might win a championship belt. So I wanted to make sure I covered that base. Sent him a couple beautiful belts. Justin always does me proud because I get pictures of him with his one title I did for him, and that means the world to me to see him at independent shows carrying that title. That lets me know he's very proud of that belt, and I'm very proud to have him as a friend and Mama as a friend and part of my family. Um, but that's where I'm getting at. 9 years ago, that's what we did all the time. It was family. You know what I mean? We were friends, brothers, sisters. We all talked on a nightly. We all set up on, even lives and video calls for hours upon hours. And PPF still does that today. And I pride myself and say that is one of the greatest things about promo that you can do. Because if you're going to sell a character, sometimes you need a little bit of advice from the other characters to get that character over. Okay. So if Mama, is doing her promoing and she's like, I just think something's off. She jumps the group chat and we all talk about it. And she's like, okay, got it. Yeah, I could try that. And same way with other promo artists, and I use Mama as an example. She didn't have to do that. Just saying that I used her as an example. But anybody who's struggling or having a rough time, that's why they jump in the group chat. They're maybe having a bad fucking day. Life might suck at this point in time, but to jump in the group chat, get the support of their brothers, sisters, and their friends and their family. That's what promo should be about. It does not need to be about, I'm the next Vince McMahon. No, you're not. You suck. We know you suck. Everybody hates you. I mean, other than your guys that follow you into the abyss and, well, look what they turn into. And then, you got guys who swear to God that they're really great at promos. And then when a whole group chat on a daily tells them, no, you're not, where'd they learn that from? The same fucking guy that thinks he's Vince McMahon. You get where I'm at. Um, Humble beginnings and humble endings, and there's not very many humble individuals left. I will say this: I would put my roster in the PPF right up there at the top of the most humble roster I've ever met in my life. They all have fun. They talk some shit. They joke around. They don't take it seriously. And guess what? It turns out to be one of the most beautiful products you're ever going to see on the promo realm. And I thank all of them for that. They're what makes it a success. Um, I think this shows success because I get a lot of support from friends and family who see the same views I do. And don't get me wrong, 96 views, 100 views, whatever, is a lot of people getting in here to make sure I ain't talking about them. But I'm not one that's shy. I will say their name. I don't care. But what are you going to do? Come to my house? Probably not. You get the whole bitch slapped out of you. I mean, I'm just going to be honest because this is not a place you roll up to and think you're going to get out of the car and act tough. That's just reality. You either walk up here and say hi, or you leave here with a chalk line around your body. That's the truth. A lot of people been to my home. They know the area I live in. You ain't walking down the street if you don't live here. Not unless you're with me or somebody who lives here. That's the truth. Um, but I've had a lot of people to my home. I've had a lot of people eat dinners with me. I've had cookouts for promo artists on my own dime. Bought steaks and had a big ass cookout. Had a lot of them here. Um, for me, that's more important than the promos itself. That's more important than any championship belt back there because it's not about the championship belt. It is about having fun, making family, making friends, and learning to love yourself on top of it. Because here, you don't have to be you. Okay. You get to be something totally different. And that is fun, you know? So for me, that was what I wanted to get on here in just about today. The difference from 9 years ago to now. There's some great differences, but then there's some shitty differences. There's some great, wonderful people in the promo realm today, and there's some shitty promo people out there today. And listen, I'm not saying that anybody's a shitty talent, okay? Because if you got the balls to turn on that camera for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes, whatever your group does, I give you all the respect in the world for doing it, okay? Because it takes a lot to get on the screen and actually put yourself out there. So congratulations to all those people. The ones that I don't really like to deal with are the ones that make it more about them than the promo game. They deserve this. They deserve that. They should have never lost this. They should have never lost that. I'll be honest, and the final statement of this show, some promo artists are not fucking promo artists. They're just sniveling little shits who are looking for attention because their real life sucks. Ouch. Hold on, let's hear that one. That's truth, and that's factoid. But I thank all you guys for jumping in here today. It was great. I had fun. Did a little bit of a 40-minute. I didn't expect to go that long. Wife went away for a little while. I said, hell with it. I'll get on here, fire up the podcast, hook them up, enjoy a day, and talk to my friends and family. So I love every one of you. I thank you guys for subscribing. I thank you guys for watching. It's not about the subscriptions. It's not about the likes. It's not about the loves. It's about coming out here and having fun and talking with you guys on a daily because that's what I live to do. So love, hug, and honor your loved ones because tomorrow's not guaranteed. Enjoy a hot cup of coffee on me today. Hell, if you smoke, have a cigarette with me. Just know I love every one of you. And I'm going to holler at you on the flip side. Old school's out of here.